Noles All Access is brought to you by the energy-saving conservation programs of Tico People's Gas. Real Coca-Cola taste with 0 sugar and 0 calories. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Taste the feeling. Welcome to Noles All Access, where we take you inside Florida State athletics. I'm Jay Sutton, and today we'll talk with head coach Leonard Hamilton to recap the matchups against Notre Dame and Virginia. Then we'll take a closer look at Coach Ham's success on the court and in the classroom. And later, Malik Osborne joins us for a special interview. All that and much more is up ahead on Noles All Access. Well, Coach, since the last time we spoke, you all have played 2 games. One of those was a big win at home against Notre Dame, and you all played well against them defensively, got them to turn the ball over, something they don't like to do, and you were able to limit Mooney on the boards. But I think what the fans really want to hear about is Wyatt Wilkes. He was calling in threes all night, so could you please share your thoughts on his performance?
Well, I've said all along that I think before Wyatt leaves Florida State, he'll be probably one of the best three-point shooters in the history of our program. He's going through the adjustments that most guys go through, just the adjustment of coming to play at this particular level. He's very knowledgeable. He has a tremendous basketball IQ. He's going to the game confident because he knows his teammates have a lot of confidence in him. And you just only saw a little glimpse of what I think he's capable of doing, contributing to our program. We seem to have that same adage of winning games by committee. Pat Williams goes down and Wyatt steps in. We need a lot more of that, but I'm very pleased with the progress he's making, and we're definitely excited about the contribution he made in the Notre Dame game.
Well, let's talk about Virginia. That was another game that you all played since the last time we spoke, and I think everyone knew that would be a tough game up in Charlottesville. When you look at that game, what were some of your takeaways from that game?
Well, I think it's hard to really talk about Virginia when you don't really point out our shortcomings in the Notre Dame game. In the first place, we got off to a poor start, and we finished the game poor. I felt that at the beginning of the game that Notre Dame was moving a little quicker. They were a little hungrier. They played with a little bit more of a desperation or a little more of a focus than we did. We adjusted after the timeout, and we cut the lead back and took the lead. But we can't continue to do that. And I feel a little bit that what happens when you win games and you don't really play particularly well, the sting doesn't necessarily hurt as much, and you have a tendency not to really focus on your shortcomings as we moved into the Virginia game. They played like this game is our opportunity to get a signature victory to go to the NCAA tournament, and I just kind of felt that we did not play with that same level of focus that we have been known for. And when you go on the road in Virginia, you got to be at your highest level of focus. There's no doubt that we will be a lot more focused now because we can point out our shortcomings after a loss. If you take a loss, and you don't ever want to take one, but if you can learn from it and you can grow from it and help you improve, sometimes that works too.
Well, this team, you always say that they're still learning themselves. But I think one thing that they have established themselves as a good team in late game situations, but not so much the last couple of games. They struggled a little bit there. So do you attribute that to focus, and when they regain that focus that you talk about, is that part of that, or is it something else?
Well, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. We got to have the full sum of all our parts working well in order for us to be successful. We lost 6 players, 6 really experienced players from last year's team, and we're still growing, and I feel very fortunate to be where we are under the circumstances. And sometimes we show our inexperience. And we've been very fortunate to win games and overcome some of our lack of experience. But when you go on the road in a hostile environment, like the one we face in Virginia, you have very little room for error. And hopefully, as we move and prepare for our next game, we'll play with that in mind.
Well, thanks for that, Coach. And we'll talk a little bit more about Virginia Tech and the upcoming matchup with North Carolina a little later in the show. So stick around for that and much more coming up on Noles All Access. Coming up, we'll find out the keys to Coach Ham's winning culture at Florida State. In his 18th season at Florida State, Coach Hamilton is the winningest coach in school history and is on pace to become one of the top 5 all-time winningest coaches in a conference that includes names like Mike Krzyzewski, Dean Smith, Roy Williams, and Jim Boeheim. Coach Hamilton has led the Noles to 3 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances with a trip to the Elite 8 in 2018 and the Sweet 16 in 2019. During this time, Hamilton has also acquired some of the top talent in the nation. Last season, the Noles were able to grab 5-star recruit Patrick Williams from Charlotte, North Carolina. This means that Florida State has now landed a 5-star recruit 4 out of the last 5 years.
You know, I think one of the things that's undervalued with Coach Hamilton is not just getting the 4- and 5-star guys, but being able to evaluate those guys that he feels like has the character and the competitive spirit and the humility to come in and be developed and be coached. They come in and allow us to have a chance to compete with the very best in the nation.
I think the overall atmosphere of our campus and the support that we've gotten from the athletic department as well as the university has created an atmosphere that is somewhat attractive to players. Plus, I have always had a great staff, and I think that has a lot to do with them being mentally, emotionally, as well as physically energized to go out and do their very best.
Coach Hamilton's ability to evaluate and develop this talent is evident as Florida State has seen 5 players selected in the NBA draft since 2016. Former Noles Fiondu Kamageli and Terrence Mann were both selected in the 2019 NBA draft and are both playing for the Los Angeles Clippers this season.
Well, we've been very fortunate to have a large number of youngsters realize their dream to have an opportunity to play in the NBA, but we've had a much larger number have been able to go internationally and play professional teams other than the NBA.
Given all of the success that Coach Hamilton has had on the court, what matters most to him is the success that his players have achieved in the classroom.
London Trent Forrest.
Over the span of his 32-year coaching career, 94% of his players have earned their degree.
The basketball starts bouncing at some point in time in everybody's life, and you have to go on with your career. I'd say 98% of all youngsters who go to college and they play basketball on scholarship will have to find a way to make a decent living. And there's no doubt in my mind the educational portion is the most important.
You know, Coach grew up in an era where the only way his generation knew to make a successful life was through education. And so that's a pillar in his value system that he has never wandered from.
Hamilton's 2017 team earned a GPA of 3.034, which was the highest among all Florida State men's athletic teams. And that same year, Trent Forrest was named to the ACC All-Academic Basketball Team.
He knows that one day, as much as we don't want to hear that we're going to have to stop playing basketball, he knows that one day we're going to stop. And then once that happens, we're going to need something that's going to help us continue on in life with whatever our academics is, whatever your major. So whatever you want to do after that is what he stresses to us all the time, that one day the ball is going to stop bouncing for us.
Leonard Hamilton has established a winning culture on the court and in the classroom at Florida State. And now he is motivated to help deliver this program its first national championship.
Well, there's no doubt that every team in America starts off every year wanting to win a national title. You would love to be standing on that ladder with those nets in your hand saying that we're number one. That's the greatest thing about college basketball. At the end of the year, there's only one champion, and we all are trying to get there. We've been knocking on the door the last couple of years. Now we'd like to kick that door down and have an opportunity to play for a championship.
Wilkes has been feeling it. His 4-3!
I'm Jay Sutton for Noles All Access. Coming up, I'll sit down and flex with Malik Osborne.
What's going on, Seminole fans? I'm Keenan Scott here to give you an exclusive look at the busy week ahead in Florida State athletics. Looking at men's basketball, the team is ranked in the top 5 for the first time since 1972 and played 2 great games this week. On Saturday, the Noles take on Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia. Then on Monday, they return home to battle the North Carolina Tar Heels at the Pepper Center. Be sure to come out and support them in the West for the national championship. The 14th ranked women's basketball team is also on the road this week, playing this Saturday against the Panthers in Pittsburgh at 5 p.m. They also played the Louisville Cardinals in Louisville on Thursday at 8. Show your support and tune in. Finally, after being recognized by Softball America as one of the top teams of the decade and having the #1 ranked recruiting class in the nation, make sure you come out and support FSU softball this Saturday for Fan Day, located at Joanne Graff Field. Well, that's your exclusive look at the week ahead in Seminole sports. I'm Keenan Scott for Noles All Access.
Malik, welcome to the show. Before we get into anything, I need to know something. How tall are you?
6'9".
6'9"?
Yeah, on a good day.
On a good day?
Yeah.
Okay, prove it. Let me see. I want to see.
Ugh.
I'm 6'5", so let me get back to back.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's about 6'9".
Just
okay.
about.
Okay, cool. The reason why I asked, man, is because, you know, you have to play a center here a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're kind of undersized for a center. So
Right.
how are you able to be so effective at playing the bigger guys down there?
I mean, I really think that my mobility gives me that advantage. I mean, I started off really in high school when I was a freshman. I was about 5'6", so I didn't think I was gonna get past 6'5". So I started working on a lot of guard skills, and I sprouted up, got to 6'9", and then so when I came here to Florida State, I was playing the 5, and Coach Ham kind of pre-warned me that I'd be playing inside and outside, but to utilize that to my advantage. And so that's what I've been trying to do, use my face-up game to just use my quickness and my speed to blow past defenders, and then just, you know, help create for others to make us successful.
Did I hear you correctly? You said 5'6"? Yeah. God, what are y'all eating in Chicago, man?
I don't know what happened. I mean, my dad told me I'd probably get to 6'5", so I said if I got to 6'4", I'd be a happy man for life.
Right.
But, you know, 6'9" is what I got, and so I'm more than happy at this point.
I would be too. Lee. But you mentioned blowing past defenders.
Right.
And it's crazy that you mentioned that because I was watching the Miami game, and it was like towards the end of overtime.
Right.
You got the ball, you faced up, and they had a 7-footer on you.
Yeah.
I saw that look in your eye. It was like utter disrespect that they had the audacity to put that big man on you like that,
Right.
and you blow by him and you get the and one. Is that what you were thinking at that moment?
Yeah, I mean, when I faced up, I was like, okay, you know, he's a 7-footer, so, you know, he might be a little slower than me. And I knew if I gave him a quick move and then went the other way that, you know, the advantage was for me. And so sure enough, that's what happened. I mean, as you saw after, I was fired up because I knew that I could utilize that advantage and help my team win, and that's really what happened at that moment.
Yeah, because y'all kept the lead from then on out. So,
Right.
yeah, and after you got that big and one bucket, I saw you screaming, I saw you flexing.
Yeah.
I've seen you do that a lot this year. So where does that energy come from? Like, are you the designated energy guy on the team? Because even when you're on the bench, like, you're giving that intensity.
Right,
so
right.
Where does that come from?
I mean, that's just always who I've been. I've always been a very animated and dramatic guy. I mean, my family always tells me how dramatic I am, and they thought I should get into acting because I was just so dramatic. But I was able to channel all that energy into playing basketball because I just love the game. I love the passion. I love the team. It's just who I am as a person. And so, I mean, my team benefits from it, and it's great that they can benefit for something that I just do naturally.
How is it playing for Coach Ham? Because we love him here. He's a ball of energy. He's so fun. How is it playing for him?
Man, it's fun. I mean, talk about a coach that just puts the players first. I mean, this man will give up his seat for his player and stand if he could. I mean, that's just who Coach Ham is. And I noticed that on my visit, he showed me his true colors, showed that he's about fun, but he's also about discipline. He's also about winning. And I mean, that's really what drew me here to Florida State, is just that he was just a player's coach. And even asking the players, they just said they love him, they love playing for him. He says he'll let you play your game, he'll develop you into a player that you want to be. You just got to trust him and trust the system. And ever since then, I mean, I've been enjoying my time here, just blessed to be in this position.
That's amazing, man. And last thing I want to ask you, I asked Coach Ham about it, but I want to hear from you, one of the players. It seems that Florida State gets a little, I'll say, a less credit as they deserve as far as on a national scale of being mentioned as one of the best teams out there.
Right.
Is that something that you all think about, or do y'all just go out and do your thing and just one game at a time?
I mean, it's something we think about, but it's not something we dwell on. You know, we're aware that sometimes we do get underappreciated and undervalued, but we like to use that, we actually kind of love it in a sense, because it's all right, you don't expect us, we'll use that as a chip on our shoulder. So no matter what our ranking is, from being unranked starting the season to being ranked now, we still have that mentality that, you know,
they really don't appreciate us like that. So we got to prove ourselves every single day, whether it be in the game or practice. We got to know that Florida State gets undervalued sometimes, so we got to show them our worth. We got to show them that we're one of the top teams in the country. And so far, I mean, we've been doing that, and we want to continue doing that as the season progresses.
Well, Malik, I just want to let you know that we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Aaron, thank you for joining us on the show, and we
No
look
problem.
forward to seeing you flex on them the rest of the year. Matter of fact, before we go, you want to flex on them one
Of course.
time? Let's...
Ah!
All right. Go Noles.
Go Noles.
Coming up, we'll preview the upcoming matchups against Virginia Tech and North Carolina. The Look Ahead is presented by Florida Farm Bureau Insurance. Register to win the ultimate fan experience at NolesContest.com. All right, Coach. Coming up, next on the schedule is Virginia Tech. And this team, they kind of remind me of a smaller Notre Dame team in the fact that they like to shoot the three. They like to spread the ball out. They move the ball well. On top of that, they have a prolific scorer in Leonard and a guy I like to call a junkyard dog in Tyrese Radford. So how do you prepare for this matchup, and what stands out to you about it?
First, you have to understand exactly who they are. Now, if you go back and look early in the season, they played an outstanding game, I believe, against Michigan State. And they have a new coach, a new system, a new program, and people didn't give them very much credit coming into the season. Well, they've surprised everybody. And they've gotten off to a tremendous start. The team seems to be playing for a tremendous amount of confidence. They're fairly deep. They play about 9 players. They play extremely hard. They have totally bought in to Coach Young's system. And he's a local guy from the vicinity of Blacksburg. So there's a lot of pride that he brings to wanting to make sure that Virginia Tech stays at the highest level. The student section is very enthusiastic, and they give you some nice comments as you try to coach and play. Yeah. So it's going to be one of those electric environments. And once again, they're trying to find a way to get into the NCAA tournament. So whatever they have within them, we know we're going to get it. Yeah. And now that we have played against 2 really hungry teams that have really taken us to the task, we need to now go in and be prepared to see a little bit more of what it's like having that bullseye on your back.
Yeah, and you talked about the crowd giving them some kind words. Fans here will have a chance to do that Monday night and return the favor as North Carolina comes into town. I want to talk to you about that game. That's a team that struggled a little bit this season, but they are coming off 2 straight wins and an impressive win against NC State. And they got some guys in the paint that can really play in Brooks and Baycott. So what do you look forward to in this matchup with North Carolina?
Well, this is one of the most rich traditional basketball programs in the history of college basketball. I believe they might be the 3rd winningest program in the history of college basketball. Tremendous legacy. Now, they have a lot of pride. They're not ranked in the top 25. They've had some injuries. It's some question as well or not they are going to be able to make it to the NCAA tournament. This is the ultimate of the wounded animal coming into your place, hungry for a victory. We try to take it one game at a time, but there's no doubt that these 2 games are very, very important to the teams that we're playing. We just can't let these games be more important to them than they are to us. That's what they say. Young people say, let's don't get it twisted. Right. This is North Carolina coming in hungry for a victory. They're loaded with talent. They're regrouping like us, same position we're in. They lost players, we lost players. They lost their leading scorer, they had a couple of injuries. And so, but this is an important game for them. They're fighting, trying to get back to the NCAA tournament. We're fighting, trying to make sure we can stay in the NCAA tournament. Something has to give. This is Carolina. I expect it to be another rock'em sock'em emotional game for the Seminoles.
ACC blowout?
Well, I would take a half-a-point victory and be very happy.
There you go. And Coach, something else that great that the state of North Carolina has produced?
Well, they produce a lot of great things. One of them, Leonard Hamilton.
That's right. You got it. That's right. Well, Coach, thank you as always. And fans, make sure you come out Monday night at 7 o'clock to see the Noles face the Tar Heels. For Coach Hamilton, I'm Jay Sutton, and we'll see you next week on Noles All Access. Noles All Access is brought to you by the energy-saving conservation programs of Tico People's Gas. Real Coca-Cola taste with 0 sugar and 0 calories. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Taste the feeling.